What's up, y'all? We're here again at the Secure Your Future. I don't even know what to call this. This is like the third straight episode where I don't even know what to call it. But it's called the Secure Your Future Podcast.
Okay.
You know, we got my good friend Q here.
Thank you, my brother.
Shout out Sway. Shout out Credit Gang. But you know, we like to just tell stories. You know, tell stories and share stories about people who are secure in their future.
100%.
You know, who are betting on themselves, and you know, just share their point of view. And that's pretty much it. It's like more like a conversation. So
yeah.
What's up, bro?
That's running, man. I'm excited. This is one of the first years of me starting to do podcasts. So I did a couple months back. So this space of being in a position now where people want to know what's going on in my life, it's just very weird.
Right.
It's very weird, but it's a first world problem. It's something that I definitely was looking forward to, because that's just what happens, man. When you begin to have a certain amount of impact. I had an uncle who played in the NFL, played for the Ravens. And one of the biggest things that he would say to me is he wished he would have gotten rich and not famous. Like, he wants the money, but for people to be all in your privacy and, you know, oh, yo, I know you from this, you know you from that. Me being from Philadelphia, the idea of you having a bunch of people who know who you are and you don't know who they are is very weird, because Philadelphia is a very, you know, it might get snaked type of city. And fame, I got a lot of friends who are very well known. And I'm like, I don't know how y'all deal with that. But some people like it. Some people like it. Some people just, I'd rather have, you know, financial stability and be able to go to the mall and do whatever I want to do without people, yo, I know who you are. Can I get a picture? Because that's, I don't know, man. My mind just runs.
Right.
My mind runs a lot.
That's what's up, bro. I mean, so listen, so one of the first things that we like to do before we really get started, or kind of at the beginning, is, you know, we like to ask our guests, you know, if you can go back 10 years from this moment that we're at right now, 10 years, and tell yourself anything, give yourself advice based off what you learned or what you know now, you know, what that look like for you?
10 years. So I'm 23 now. 10 years ago, I'd have been 13.
13 with the knowledge you had today is crazy.
I'd have been like, nigga, forget about middle school, getting Bitcoin. But I don't know, man. I most certainly would have told myself comparison really is a thief of joy, because one, that person put in the work. So the satisfaction they get from whatever they obtained, you're not going to be able to really understand that because you didn't go through it. But also the hard times that they went through, you're not going to understand them either. Because people look at people like yourself, people like Herman, just anyone that has success, and they don't really understand that there was a lot of nights where, okay, I got to really work. Even myself, I had a moment where I was working 3-4 jobs back to back for probably 3 months, every single day, probably sleeping max 4 hours every single day, if I'm lucky. And people look at the result of that, okay, yeah, I can travel freely. I have an online business that's bringing some income in.
Right.
But they're not aware of, or don't think to believe the fact that there were times where I literally couldn't hang out with friends. You know, all the stuff that people say on these big stages that, okay, it sounds good, but no, it's reality. You have to sacrifice a good chunk of your life to get somewhere that people think, oh, well, you know, that's lucky. I wish I could do that. And it's very attainable for anyone, but they're sacrificing to go into it. So I would tell myself at 13, understand, one, the benefits of solitude. Being by yourself is something a lot of people fear, but it's very, very impactful if you can rest in it. Because the more you know about yourself, the more you'll be able to really go out into the real world and face certain situations differently than a lot of other people. So I would say that is solitude is super important.
That's dope.
Be ready to face that on.
That's dope. So where you from? So tell people where you from. Tell the people where you're from.
Yeah.
You know, and what you have going on.
Yeah. So as I stated earlier, I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, West Philly to be more
Shout
specific.
out to Philly. That's where we are right now in Philly.
Right now. We're in the nice part though, not the dangerous part. But yeah, man. Right now, I have a few things going on. I have a credit repair business. I got into funding about a year or so ago. Trade as well. I'm a trader. That's kind of where I started. The entrepreneur lifestyle in general. I had some experience in the insurance space. I sold life insurance right out of high school for about a year.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. So a lot of sales, sales work, man. And that's pretty much me. Is just sales. Anything in regard to sales, dealing with people, talking to people. That's where I tend to thrive.
So why do you tend to thrive in sales? Why sales? Why not anything? You could have chosen anything else.
That is super true. I don't know why. Well, my big thing was college. The idea of college being incredibly necessary, I don't agree with. I think if there are certain industries or verticals that require a degree, such as being a doctor, being a lawyer, obviously you have to go through those routes.
Right.
But if you want to be a business owner and you want to learn how to, generate and build a 6-figure business, most of the college professors have never done that in their life, ever. They can tell you all the statistics. Oh yeah, get this set up and do this and shake hands this way. But most of them have never actually owned a 6-figure, much less a 5-figure business. So the biggest thing that I understood about that was real world, and sales was something where I did a lot of acting prior to becoming an entrepreneur. And going into an audition room, you have to be able to stand. You have to be confident. You have to look people in their eye, say your name slate, do a 5-minute audition of something you memorize, sales scripts. You had to memorize sales scripts. So even that aspect of memorizing scripts when I got into sales helped a lot. And it's something where it's very much based on the idea that if you yourself are someone that's competent, you're able to then make your own living. So with acting, is very much relationship based. You can be a great actor, and if you don't agree with something someone says, or if you have your own opinion, they can very much shut you out from any work opportunities.
Right.
If I have a company and I'm able to produce results for people that nobody else can produce, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to sacrifice the ability to get something done the correct way just because they don't like what I believe or they don't agree with what I believe 100%. So sales is something where it's like, okay, well, if I can be competent, which, I make sure I am, and I do diligent work, I'm honest and truthful, there's really no way to lose from that point. So instead of going to college and doing that whole route, because of that acting experience, I know how to look at someone in their eyes, talk to them. People love talking about themselves. If you can ask people questions, you'll figure out their whole life story and they'll be ready to be your best friend after 5-10 minutes.
Right.
So just everything I learned in that acting space, when it got time to go to college, I didn't know what I wanted to be as far as a college graduate and moving on that route. So I had connections. That's another thing. It is really, it's who you know and what you know, both of them. There is no separation. One is not more important than the other. And I was able to get into an insurance firm. And from there, 18, 19 years old, started to take off.
So, it's crazy, and that's a great story. What's crazy is, I kind of believe the same about college.
Yeah.
Like, it's, I think that in college, it's one of those things where, I went to college for school for basketball. And I tell people this all the time. Like, people ask me, what did you major in? I said, I majored in college basketball. School is just a byproduct of me having to go play college basketball.
Yeah, exactly.
And, but I also think that if there was no debt involved in school, first, I think school should be free. If there was no debt involved in school, I think everybody probably should go or, maybe could go. And I think the reason is because I think that if you do choose to go to school, whether you get in a debt or not, it is the one place where there's thousands of people who are trying to get to the same place, which is somewhere other than where they are now, those 4 years. And it's a great networking tool.
100%.
And when I went to college, I tell people all the time, I wasn't the kid that had my headphones in my ears, although I played, for, a college program. I was on the quad talking to the kids. I wasn't in the frats, but I was hanging with the fraternity guys. I was hanging, out with, the people on campus. I was going to the different clubs on campus, like the school clubs on campus. And I was interactive, and I still have relationships from college that are active today.
Yeah.
I think it's the only place where you have thousands of people that are on the same trajectory, whether you're doing this or that, you all have a goal to get somewhere.
Yeah.
But I agree with what you say, college is not necessary, and that isn't necessary at all.
100%. And that's the big thing. Alex Hormozy, he said something similar, exactly what you just said about networking. But he was saying that's really one of the only real pros of college.
Right.
Everyone is familiar with inflation to at least some capacity. Over time, money loses its value because it's in great abundance. And there's literally an inflation type situation going on with diplomas. There are so many people graduating college, and it's looked at as such this prestigious thing. So now that we have 1 million diplomas out there, and let's just say 10,000 jobs that really require them, okay, well, there are so many of you guys, this piece of paper doesn't really mean that much anymore. Versus where not everybody could get access to some capacity. Not everyone can go to college, but it's a lot more accessible than, let's say, 10, 20 years back.
100%.
So because now we have an influx of degrees and diplomas, the value they hold, similar to $1, isn't as strong as it was at one point. So, I mean, I saw a study, most people who are college graduates are having trouble getting into jobs And now most people that are in high school level jobs, fast food, McDonald's, Panera Bread, Pandora as well even, those jobs are filled with people that are college graduates because the diploma has become such an oversaturated thing now.
A lot of companies now, like Google, Facebook, YouTube, like all these big conglomerates are not even requiring you to have a college degree anymore to participate.
Yeah, they want to see experience.
Right.
They want to see experience. Like I literally would go into these life insurance jobs. They were like, why should we hire you? You're an 18, 19-year-old kid. Like, we have guys who are 20, 30, they have families, they have some type of hunger. I'm like, yeah, but I have a point to prove. The fact that I'm coming in here at 18, 19, you all are looking at me like I'm an idiot anyway.
Right.
Now I have something on my shoulder. Now I'm going to go into this week-long or 14-day long period you guys gave us to memorize this 5-page script. We're memorizing in 3 days. I'm going to go out here. I'm going to do $2,000 in an hour, sell a $4,000 policy in my first 4 weeks. Because you looked at me like I'm a moron. So I have to, there's a chip on my shoulder.
Go and prove yourself.
Yeah, you got to prove yourself. And the other thing with life insurance is you got to understand angles. When I got into, I have rental cars as well. When I got in a rental car, shout out to my guy at Big Rentals, I shot him a DM. He had a mentorship where he'll walk you through how to go to a dealership and get a car, and then you can put it on his fleet. And that was $2,000. So at the moment, I didn't have $2,000 to spend. So I'm thinking, okay, well, how can I come at an angle where I'm obviously not trying to disrespect him or lowball him, but I'm also going to provide some type of value, some type of, again, competence. Competence is a huge thing a lot of people tend to overlook. So I DM'd him. I said, listen, man, I know your profit splits. I didn't even know. I asked him questions, and I found out that his profit splits are 70-30. So if you have a car, give it to him at 70-30. You get 70%, he'll keep 30. I said, listen, bro, I understand that's what you got going on right now. Let's do this. I'll give you an extra 3% every profit split, so you'll get 33. I'll get 67, and we'll go from there. And over time, he understood that, okay, well, I'm going to make more money off of just that $2,000, which he did.
Right.
So it's small stuff like that where learning how to negotiate or learning how to bring something to the table versus, oh yeah, I can do this, I can do that, or we can da 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 da. Because it's a harsh reality. I was talking to someone that was at the Blueprint Summit. The reality is, especially when you're networking up.
Shout out Herman.
Shout out Blueprint Summit. Shout out Herm. When you're networking up, in all reality, as much as these guys who have these communities and these courses are, not all of them, let's say 7, maybe 8 times out of 10, they don't give a bleep about you, bro. 100%. They don't care. Because in all reality, if you're not going to contribute anything to them, they don't need you. They know millionaires, billionaires. They are in circles that you would have to literally pay $40,000 to even step foot in, and that's just to get in the room. So if you're not going to come and bring something to the table, they don't have to talk to you. They're going to look at you like, okay, well, bam. So that was something that I've learned as well is what can I bring to the table that is tangible? Not, oh, well, if you get in with me, I'll tell my friends and family. They have a community of 100,000 people.
Right.
They don't care about your friends and family. But it's like, what can I do? So look, all right, bam, give you this extra 3%. It's gonna accumulate over time. And that's a huge thing, man, that I believe college can definitely teach you, because you're right. You are going to get that network. But again, Blueprint Summit, $500 for a VIP ticket, you're literally next to millionaires already.
Right.
Versus $30,000, $60,000, $100,000 for a college diploma.
You know, it's crazy. You say that. You say when you network up, you don't have really value for those people. And it's really true. And I think that a lot of times we try to network up too much. Not too much, but we focus too much on networking up, which you should leverage up.
You should.
But also, I think we should also focus on leveraging wide.
Exactly.
Because you can build with more people that are on your level or people that are on the same trajectory than you can with people that are above you. And I also think that we have to make ourselves more valuable. Like, you know, for what I do, the reason why I started is to make myself more valuable for those people of high reference.
100%.
You know, so how can I do that? Well, you create a community where these people can come in and they can connect, collaborate, maybe not with you directly, but with the people in your community. And then also you become the authority in that space. And then when you become the authority of that space, now you have say-so, you have leverage, and everything is about leverage also. We have to leverage. You know, it's all about who you leverage, what you leverage, and why, and how you leverage it. If you can master those 3 things, or really 2 out of the 3, then you can go from place to place to place, because every step should be another level to something else.
100%.
So that's great how you said that. You have to provide value, you know, for yourself to eventually provide value for other people who are at a higher level than you.
Yeah. Man, while we're on the topic, I do want to ask you, this is a gem for them. What is this could be towards the beginning of your networking career, or even now, when you are networking up, or even wide, what is a good technique or method that you've learned to getting to sit with somebody outside of, oh, you do that? Okay, great, yeah. Get this course, and then boom. Like where they actually want to sit and talk to you.
In terms of like, but who wants to talk to me though?
All right, let's say you want to network up.
Network up, yes.
How would you get that person to agree?
There's only 3 ways.
Okay.
You earn your way, you pay your way, you serve your way. You serve your way, you pay your way, you earn your way.
Okay.
Those are the only 3 ways. That's the only 3 ways you could ever bring value to anything.
Okay. So getting like,
for example,
okay, give me, yeah.
My mom does real estate.
Okay.
She has earned her way. She has served her way, earned her way, and paid her way.
All 3.
In rooms that people can't even dream about, especially being a black woman in a predominantly white male space of real estate. And because of that, and because I'm her son, I've been granted the opportunity to be able to get in those rooms sometimes without having to ever earn my way or having to ever pay my way.
Yeah.
So how am I able to be of service and of value to somebody, my mother or anybody in the room? I serve them.
Man.
So you have to serve people. You have to serve people so much that your energy and your, how do I say this? Your energy and your aura is like, I gotta have this person in the room. They may not be perfect. They may not have the most money, but they bring value. How can you bring value in today's society? Number 1, keep a camera with you. People always love pictures and videos taken of them. Man. Be good at that. And then also what you're doing is you're also helping document their process, but also documenting your process as well. Yeah, so that's that's the one thing that can get you in any room is having a camera. Like I will always, for the last 4 years, I've always had a camera. Started with a Lumix camera. Then I got a Canon camera. Then I got a Sony camera. Then it just evolves, but I'm always documenting the process. I'm always taking somebody's phone and recording them. Like whether I'm the main speaker on a flyer or whether I'm just there trying to get some knowledge, I'm doing the same things that got me there. And because I know I could be hosting an event, bro. I could be hosting an event and I have a camera in my hand.
Yeah. You did that when we were you did that twice when we were at the fight. Bro. You literally took my phone and was like, bro, go stand there. I'm taking a video of you. And you did it when we were in the summit. You literally I was looking at, I think, gold. You were like, take a video.
Bro, that's all because people like that's good stuff. And I'm always trying to bring value to whatever. How can I bring value? All right, let me not just be a spectator, although we could always be spectators, but let me bring value in some type of way. Let me hold somebody's bag or let me hold somebody's shoes or, it goes back to the sports thing. Like, as a freshman or as an incoming, player, it's like, all right, I know this is not my team. This is not my environment. I have to adapt to their culture. Let me bring value to it. You know what? Let me go and carry the bags. Let me go and make sure everybody's, clothes are washed. Let me go and make sure, let me go and rebound for somebody, rebound for a player who's a senior. Then they're going to want you around and then they're going to just, when you serve other people, automatically they're going to feel like kind of guilty. So they have to serve you back in some way.
It's like, all right.
People become indebted to you when you serve them.
Yeah.
And that's it. In the Bible, I don't know what you believe in, but in the Bible it just talks about.
I'm a believer.
Yeah, in the Bible it just talks about, the best form of leadership is servant leadership.
Certainly, yeah.
And that's what I believe in, no matter what religion that you believe in or what God you believe in, that principle is the same no matter what. The best form of leadership is servant leadership. You have to serve your way into a leadership role because people determine if you're a leader or not. You don't determine that because you can think that you're leading all you want. But if there's nobody following you, if there's nobody, taking your advice or taking your thoughts into consideration, then you're leading the blind. Is it?
That's great.
But yeah, bro, just serving leadership. You have to serve your way, earn your way, and pay your way. Most people can't pay their way. You don't make enough money to get into these rooms.
Right.
Most people, they quit before they can earn their way all the way. Mm-hmm. But everybody can serve your way.
Everybody can serve your way.
Everybody can serve your way.
That's heavy, man.
But this is not my conversation. This is your conversation, bro.
You're right.
What do you think about what I just said?
I think that's 100% true. Before you even mention it being in the Bible, I understand that as believers, that's what we're called to do. Ultimately, before anything else, is we're called to serve.
Right.
And that can be in feeding the poor. That can be in simply pointing people toward the cross. In our reality, that's the best way to serve.
Right.
Outside of your physical well-being, that's leading you toward eternal life. So
100%.
serving is definitely important, and that is something that I've definitely leveraged within the last couple of years because, in this space of entrepreneurship, again, just that realization of these people do not need me. I think that's something else that people, do sleep on is that reality. It may be a bit harsh to some people. Some people may hear that and say, dang, why you gotta say it like that? It's the truth. And in knowing that truth, you can then make better moves. So serving has definitely been something huge. When I met Herman, I'm like, listen, man, let's hop on calls and do this. I was trading before I got into like the credit space big time. So all right, well,
shout out Sway.
Shout out Sway's away. Shout out Sway, man. But listen, literally as I was learning credit, I told Herman, listen, man, I can trade. Like, I'll show you this. I'm showing him my account, my withdrawals, so he knows everything is real. Because a lot of people out here saying they know how to do stuff that they don't know how to do.
Right.
So I was showing him those things, and he ended up seeing after following me that I do credit, and I was posting receipts. That's another thing is posted work. My cousin Greg, who's here with us, he literally pointed out that that's insane. You never know who's watching. Because I wasn't posting hoping, well, Herm's going to see this, and then once he sees this, we're going to do a Zoom class together. It was just me being diligent in the work that I'm doing, being proud of the work that I'm doing. People have to be proud of their work. A lot of people, self-talk is a very big struggle for them. And simply saying, I'm good at what I do. Some people struggle with that a lot. And in doing that, I was able to then garner his eyes, and he was saying, yo, you're doing this. How'd you get this thing done? And then we ended up doing our first class. And through that, even to this day, if Herm needs something, I'll do it for free just because of, one, the amount he's poured into me that I can never really repay. But just in general, is he's a friend of mine. Serving doesn't stop once you get in. Serving is not something that stops once you make it to that point. Some people forget what got you there. In some cases, what got you there is not going to be the thing that gets you to the next spot. But certain aspects, certain variables need to be consistent. You being a kind person, that's going to keep getting you further and further. You don't be kind till you get rich and then you become an a-hole. You're kind and kind and kind and kind again, because in certain areas, doing the same thing over and over again will produce good results. And that's pretty much what I think is everything you said. We're paying your way. Everyone doesn't have access to money. Earning your way, some people do give up right before there's that wall is about to get crashed through.
Remember that picture? That
picture with the guy with the pickaxe and the diamonds, he turns around. Literally that, bro. But anybody can serve, literally. And it doesn't have to be, oh, let me do your taxes for free. It can be, listen, if you need anything, let me know. If you want me to give your children free childcare or whatever the case is. If you're a guy, don't do that. No one wants you watching our kids. But if you're, you know what I'm saying? But if there's anything you can bring to the table to help people's lives become easier, they remember that, just like you said. And there is a certain level of, indebtedness. I think it is important to also point out, though, don't go out of your way to serve just to get people indebted to you.
Right.
Because that's going to also come across very apparent as well. If you're doing it to get an angle on somebody.
Right.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this question, because you talked about, most people will never pay their way, but now you're in the credit space.
That's true.
And I mean, we just heard some phenomenal speakers, and they talk about having, anybody can get money for real.
That's true.
If you really wanted to.
That's very
so
true.
What got you into the credit space, transitioning from, I know you still trade, but now that you're also leveraging your credit and you're only 23, if I could go back, man, when I was 23 years old, I got my first credit card. It was a $2,000 limit, and I probably spent like $1,500 in the first 4 days.
It gets like that, man. I'm not even mad at you because I did the same exact thing.
And it was, and not to cut you off, but it was crazy because I was like, man, now I have enough money to get everybody my school's logo, because I wanted everybody to have my jackets for the basketball team. And that was my first credit lesson. My credit was actually pretty bad for a couple of years because I wasn't paying attention to it.
Yeah.
But once I understood all right, instead of, what I was doing was every time I needed to pay use a card, I would pay it off to use it. I wouldn't pay it off for it to be paid off.
Paid off, yeah.
But once I got that down packed, I kind of figured it out. But for you, what was that transition like, and why even venture into that space, especially on the teaching side?
Yeah, so the reason I got into credit, my cousin and I, it's so funny he's here, because literally our entrepreneur stories literally began together. We'd be 15, 16, 14, literally walking down the street. I can't work for somebody the rest of my life. Man. Literally, that was our conversation every time, bro. And that would stem into 1 3-hour long conversations. We got to get rich. How are we going to get rich? How are we going to do it? But one of the big things for me was just the idea that I didn't care what I had to do. The whole idea of doing your passion per se, I kind of threw that away when I stopped acting, because acting was a passion, but I was not making money off of acting. I loved it for sure. I wasn't making money off of it. And you got to think, there are guys, people that built this table and are multimillionaires, if not billionaires, because of the table. I'm sure they don't love tables. I highly doubt they get aroused by tables. So I'm like, all right, well, at some capacity, they understood that, listen, if I can do X, Y, Z, money's going to come in. And that was a realization I had when I was in that grind mode where I was barely sleeping, working those 3-4 jobs. I was at a gym called Lifetime Fitness. And the thing about Lifetime, I would tell people all the time, yeah, I'm going to this gym and da-da-da-da. And they'd ask how much it is. Oh, yeah, it's $198 a month to $200 a month, $250 a month if you're in Atlanta. It's different by the area you're in.
Right. And
I would literally tell them the price, and they're like, that's crazy. You could do that at Planet Fitness. But what they don't understand is that if you're at a gym that's $200 plus a month, what type of people are going to be at that gym?
Right.
Doctors,
right.
Lawyers,
right.
Entrepreneurs, guys who are in real estate, people who are making millions of dollars to where $200 a month for a gym membership isn't really hurting their pockets.
You're paying for the network.
And those type of people, being around them every day, one of my big things is just in general, even at that point, I was still wearing suits. They weren't as nice or well fitted at that time, but
you got a nice suit on, brother.
I'm trying, man.
You're looking very, you know what I'm saying, suitish and bootish over here.
But no, man. So I was telling myself I had to stand out. I had to stand out, especially being like the only black people that were there. I have to go here and make an impression. So I would wear the suits every single day. I probably had like 5 suits I was rotating with every single day. And what happened was they started to notice me and, yo, Q, what's up? Not like okay, hey, scan the thing and move. Like, yo, Q, what's up? Dapping me up. Yo, what are you doing? Like, they're asking about my life, making sure, I'm good, asking what's happening with my family, whatever's happening. They actually showed that they cared. I was building real relationships with these people. And then it got to a point where I would just ask them, hey, like, do you want to go for lunch? I'll treat you. And they say, yeah, of course. Like, it's you. Yeah, let's do it. And now I'm sitting with these people who have 6, 7, 8-figure businesses. And they're talking to me as if I'm one of their peers, but still giving me actual gain. Mm-hmm. So at that point, I had guys who were in real estate. Listen, like, I'll take you under my wing. You can work with me, and we'll get you a real estate portfolio. And I was actually beginning to move into that. And Dear CEO, shout out to Dear. I saw on Instagram.
Shout out to Dear.
Shout out to Dear, man.
Friend of the pod.
Yes, man. I came across Dear, and at this point, I didn't know who Herman was. I didn't know Him 500 was, Nehemiah Davis, nobody. I knew nobody was.
Right.
So I saw Dear, and he was like, what's up, y'all? It's Dear CEO, 25 entrepreneur. I'm like, okay, you got some energy. I like you. And he had a week-long mentorship for $250. So I'm thinking to myself, it's getting, it doesn't have to be getting rich, but making money is I would say one of 3 different factors that go into it. But one is definitely grabbing opportunities as soon as they come. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking at myself, I'm saying, okay, well, he has a good amount of followers. He has competence. There are a ton of results coming on his page. $250 to be with this dude for a week. And he's talking about, yes, guest speakers coming on and X, Y, Z. If you don't do it, you're an idiot.
No brainer.
I'm looking at myself like, yo, you're not an idiot. Let's go, lock in with him. So throughout that week.
So you never thought about the price?
Nah.
You know, it's crazy. You know, it's crazy. A lot of people think about how much something costs instead of how much will it cost them not to pay the price.
And not do it. Because you're going to pay the price either way. Right. Herm says all the time, you're going to pay with your time or your money. If you pay with your money, you'll save a little bit of time. If you pay with your time, in all reality, you're going to lose money because you could have made a lot of money.
Another girl came and she came to my event as well. And she was like, I'll help you with the sponsorships and all that. And I was like, all right, cool. Let's do it. And then she was like, well, I charge an upfront fee. And I was like, well, let's do it based off of, if you give me a sponsorship, I mean, sure, I'll bust it down with you,
See?
And she was like,
negotiations.
And she was like, nah, I really do upfront fee. Like, I really just show you how to do it. And I was like, I don't really need that because I can kind of go get, if I really, really wanted to, I can kind of go get my own sponsorships or whatever. Right. So that didn't work out. But then Nora was like, bro, I just help you. I see what you're doing. And she's also building Miami Man in Miami, so I help her with that as well. And then yeah, bro, I started throwing the event, and she was like, man, I got this guy, you know, he wants to do a podcast and all this, and she kept saying this Haitian CEO, you know. I was like, all right, yeah, he looks dope. Okay, cool, but like, I mean, I got the space to do it. I wasn't planning on doing the podcast, but if y'all want to use the space, you can. It's like, it's already paid for.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And she was like, all right, bet. And then I'm not gonna lie, bro, I was kind of getting frustrated a little bit because we had planned for this, and I'm telling people like, because she's like, all right, we got CEO, he's done X, Y, and Z. Then he might interview, you know, this one guy, Franz, who ended up interviewing Franz,
right?
Who is Kyrie's, you know, he started with Puma. He's like Kyrie's designer for his shoe. I was actually talking to Franz last week because Kyrie's shoe just launched.
Right.
So he designed Kyrie's new shoe for Enter. Crazy.
That's hard, bro.
So they came to the table and they were like, well, we might interview somebody else, and then this and whatnot. Anyways, long story short, I was kind of getting frustrated because, you know, I'm promoting this event like, this gonna be fire. Yeah. We got this guy Herman, Haitian CEO. We got this guy Franz, and you know, Herman didn't even promote the event really until like a week and a half, 2 weeks before.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, Lauren, like, is this guy really coming? Like, I'm not trying to tell people he's coming, but then he's not coming because I don't see him promoting. He's doing the Black Friday stuff, and that's also, it runs through Black Friday, so it's kind of a weird time and whatnot. And I was like, all right. She was like, no, trust me, he's good. Boom. Then me and Herman got on the live. That was crazy.
What was that?
me and Herman got on the live, and it was as if like, it was just like the energy was just like this.
Yeah, man.
You know, I admire what he does, and I don't know if you admire what I do, but you know, anyways, I admire what he was doing, and then it was just like, all right, cool. And then the crazy part about it was they were supposed to come to the event and like do the podcast and kind of just do their thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it so happened that I was with my boy Odell. They came into town.
Right.
They came into town and I was with my buddy Odell, and he's a photographer.
Okay.
So to talk about bringing value, I was like, yo, I got this guy Odell, blah, blah, blah. Because Lauren was like, yo, we're going to go to this Wallow's event. I call him my bald-headed uncle. I call both of them my bald-headed uncle. Herman's my dark-skinned one. Wallow's my light-skinned one. And then so I met Wallow that night on a Thursday before the event. So it kind of just came together. And then that Friday, my parents own a school. And they're because you know you want to come to our Basel, but you also want to like kind of like give back or whatever. That's the thing.
Exactly.
Do. You know, our Basel talk. I mean, we've had Puff Daddy's son come and talk. Like, it's crazy.
That's
people want to come and talk. You know, we've had NFL players, entrepreneurs come to the school, and that's a thing. But their school that they were gonna do, like, it fell out.
Yeah,
it fell apart. So I was just like, you know what? Just come to my people's school. Ooh. It's school going on right now. You can go talk to them. So we did that, and then I showed them the new building that we have. So I was kind of with them the whole day. Then we went to lunch. And Herman was trying to play like Russian roulette or whatever, like with the cards. Yo. And I was like, man, I ain't never do that, man. Just here, I'm paying for it, boom.
bro.
So we paid for it. Shout out Sway, because you know,
shout out Sway.
Big sponsorship with Sway.
Sway pays.
You know, Sway pays. And then and so I ended up being with them for hours. And then as we were eating, my shirts came. So I just gave everybody a shirt. You know, as a value add. And then that next day they came to the pod. It was great. And bro, running a show, like how Lauren was just saying, it's crazy, bro. I was running around with my head cut off. I got there at 12:30. The event starts at 2, and like the place looks like a barn. I'm like, bro, I had to call the owner, my boy. I'm like, bro, what's going on? Shout out to Jake, my boy Jake. He was like, man, what's going on? Like, what? He's like, bro, I never seen you like this, like riled up. What's going on? I'm like, bro, it's this thing. It has to be ready. Like, you know me, I'm not really tripping too much. I'm very stress free. I was like, bro. He was like, all right, I'm gonna call him. Boom. So whatever, we get it all figured out. Great event. And then yeah, bro. Ever since then, you know, it's just been like a thing,
man. And
so that's how, you know, I ended up here. Really, you know. So really, shout out to Lauren.
That's bro.
You know, for that connection. You know, and also that just goes to show you, like, just having a vision, like. And when I talked about, you know, earlier, what you leverage, who you leverage, and how you leverage it. This is the perfect example. You know, it started off with an idea, and, you know, this idea was I I want to collect data. I want to be able to build value within myself or my people around me, and also build value for them, so they can have a community. And then, you know, it started with boats, and it started with what it would do, and it led to this. Now I'm hosting an event with 500 entrepreneurs at one of the biggest, you know, business summits, and it's really, you know, really is God, you know, because at the end of the day, it kind of doesn't make sense because I don't deserve this. But then again, it's like, you know, it's like with the faith of a mustard seed, you can move mountains. Yeah. And people think that when you have faith, it has to happen right away. No, you can have faith in something, but, you know, God will allow you the ability to do the work in order to see that faith pull through. Bro. And so when you have a vision, that's what I did. You guys weren't here earlier, but, you know, when I first came out today, what's the first thing I did? You know, played my song, came out with the whoop, you know, hyped everybody up. But then I played the song in my phone. It's right there in front of you. Yeah, you can just toss it. I could catch. So I played this song because I believe you have to see it first. You have a vision. Right. You have a vision, and then, you know, after you visualize something, God gives you the vision. God gives you the dream. In the Bible, it also talks about, you know, write it down and make it plain. It says that. And so you have to communicate it with yourself. So you have to visualize it via dream, via whatever that is, you know. Then you have to communicate it to yourself, which means that you have to write it down in some way. Because when you write it down and make it plain, you're also using other senses. You're writing it, you're looking at it, and then you're also, while you're looking at it, you're like automatically kind of saying it to yourself. Right. And then you have to affirm it. Right? And so you affirm it. And I was telling them to listen to this song. Affirming means say it out loud. So as you're writing it, repeat it to yourself. Like, I am, you know, whatever it is, you know, I want. And it's this song right here. One of my friends from church put me on. She don't even know, but she put me on to this. And so, I want to do it.
What?
Do the exercise?
Let's do it. I do want to keep the conversation running, though. Like, this conversation, I want to keep this running. Because you said something interesting.
So, look, you don't have to do it, but this song here. So imagine this playing with 500 people in a room, everybody's eyes closed, and I'm saying, like, think about the kind of car you want, the kind of house you want, but not just the kind of car you want, but think about the biggest house, like the biggest car. Think about like the generational impact you're gonna create by saying yes to this opportunity. Think about the lives you're going to alter for people that don't even know who you are yet because they don't even exist. You know, think about the chains that you're breaking, the generational abundance that you're providing. You know, think about how good you want your credit to be, how much funding you want, how much access you want, how great your relationships want to be. Think about those things. So people are like closing their eyes. Like, people are crying, bro. Like, even people backstage are crying because it's like, I'm setting this mood in this environment where you can just visualize it.
Sure.
Imagine if time wasn't real. Imagine if, like, you know, there were endless possibilities and you can really achieve anything you wanted to as long as you just thought about it.
Yeah.
Boom, that happens. You know, and then I say, all right, now write it down. Everybody open your eyes, keep the song playing, turn it up a little bit. Now, whatever you just thought about, write it down. And don't cut yourself short. Like, don't shortcut yourself. Like, really, like write it down, like, as big as you want, whatever it is you want, wherever you see yourself in your family, whatever comes to your mind. And I'm like, you know, now I'm like, you know, all right, write it down. I mean, now say it out loud. So say it to the person next to you, say it to yourself. People started yelling. People started like screaming it. People were like whispering it.
Bro,
it's just more than powerful. People are writing it down. And as they're writing it down, they're thinking about it. And they're saying it to themselves. Now they're affirming it to themselves. So now it's already out. So it's, once you put something out there, it's already done. It's just up to you to see how fast it gets done.
Yeah.
Crazy, like. Just imagine this, your eyes closed, you're thinking about all these things, and you're writing it down, you're saying it loud. And then after that, you know, we bring in
Derek.
Damaris. Damaris was first. Brought her in, and then I go backstage, you know, going back to Lauren. And Lauren's like, wiping her tears. Yeah. I'm like, why you crying? She's like, I guess she was doing it.
That's fire.
And I don't know what made me think about that, because this whole time, I don't even know why I started with this conversation. But anyways, this whole time, like, leveraging. This whole time at this event, I'm like trying to figure out, like, do I need a speech, like a monologue? Like, what song should I come out to? Like, but I thought about it. I was like, it's early in the morning.
Yeah.
People are still like drinking their coffee, like waking up. Let's put them in a mood where they really are thinking about, where they want to be. Because before you can get all the information, you can get all the information in the world, but if you don't believe, and you don't think, and you don't have faith in the things that are possible, because people only can do what in their capacity they think about.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Man.
Like, think about it. All the thoughts that you ever had have probably come true, if you really think about it,
bro.
So how do we now control our thoughts? But control our thoughts in an imaginary way. Like, you can be anything, bro. Somebody built the Eiffel Tower, bro. Like, somebody thought about a machine where instead of us having to ride a horse, now we can go and take a plane and just in 2 hours get somewhere, in 30 minutes get somewhere, in 4 hours get somewhere that we couldn't even get to Hawaii if we wanted to.
That is great.
Think about that. Somebody made, this building that we're living in right now. Think about all the intricate designs. Just look at it. Look how crazy that is. Somebody thought about this. Because everything starts with a thought. Once you get a thought, you have to write it down, because you have to see it. And once you do that, you have to affirm it to yourself. That's why in the Bible it says, God is I am. Right? He says I am. I am. So what are you? So who do you want to be? I am successful. Not I want to be successful. No, I am successful. I am rich. I am impactful. I am influential. I am, abundant. I am favorable.
Yeah.
I have wisdom. I have wisdom. And then also whatever we ask for in life, God is just not going to give it to us. If we ask for wisdom doesn't just get implanted into our brain.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'm going to bring this situation, and this situation, and based off of the principles that you believe in, that I put in this book through other people, is how you're going to respond, and boom, that's how you gain your wisdom.
Oh.
Yo, I want to get stronger. Well, I'm not going to give you strength.
Yeah.
He didn't just give Sam some. No, you got to grow your hair out, brother.
Yeah.
You cut your hair, it's a wrap.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? You got to go to the gym. You got to do push-ups. Man. You have to actually work on it. He's going to give you the tools that you need in order to become the thing you want to become. In order to serve his purpose.
Yeah.
Well, preached. That's
it was crazy. I was
that's it. I'm done.
When he's a grandfather, bro, his grandchildren, bro, my grandfather, he's a pastor. That's the church I was going to invite you to. Literally, bro, I'll just say and talk. I'll listen to my grandfather talk, bro, because his wisdom, especially a lot of guys our age, they just want to talk. Like, it's rare you find a guy that's our age that actually has something to say. My grandfather, he'll talk, and I'm like, yo, just boom, 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 boom. I wanted to continue that conversation, though, because even what we were talking about, we can go back to that.
Did you sit up, or are you good?
Enemy sit up?
No, you good.
You sure? I don't want to look crazy on that. I don't want to look crazy on the can.
It's on him now, right?
But, bro, another conversation I think that's interesting, because when you said write down, make it plain. Like, one of the big things that I saw coming into the entrepreneur space, especially in Atlanta, bro, places like Change Church. Like, I loved going there. I went there.
As Darius Daniels, right?
Yeah, I went there 3 times.
I saw him speak at Art Basel at one of our church events.
Bro, now this might be controversial.
I got a crazy story for you, though. But go ahead.
This might be controversial. I don't know. But one of my big things that kind of made me it made me a bit hesitant or off put, even with guys like Myron Golden, was, and I kind of want to him a little bit. I like him now because I think the advice he gives, it's not using the Bible for self-improvement as far as material things. His from what I'm beginning to understand, is more just practical advice. Like, okay, biblically, you want to do this with your money, whatever the case may be. But one of the big things that kind of made me very wary of a lot of people, especially in the mega church space, was and maybe this is or is not a good way to voice it or to say it, but is the purpose of Scripture was to let us know the gospel being the good news. Like, we are in a fallen world, we're all simple creatures, but God revealed himself in Christ and died for us that we don't have to bear the consequence of that sin anymore. And one of the big things that I realized, especially when I became an entrepreneur, especially then, because I started getting in these circles, was that there was a lot of stuff in the Bible that wasn't designed for self-help got turned into like self-help books. Like even the whole thing where write it down, make it plain. I think that's great because it helps people to understand that there is stuff in the Bible, because the Bible talks about money. The Bible is not just, oh yeah, you're sinners, you need Jesus.
The Bible talks about
everything.
The Bible talks about money more so than other subjects.
It talks about money a lot. The Bible is poetry. It talks about the Bible is poetry. It's history. It's literature. It's
an entire
stories.
school.
Yeah, there's so much. Like, there's a lot in Scripture. It's not just one thing. But one of the big things, like even with the write down, make it plain, like that was God talking to a prophet. He was saying, listen, I'm about to tell you this. I'm about to tell you what's about to happen. You need to write this down and make sure it's clearly communicated and stuff. Because you're not the first guy I've heard say, write down, make it plain in the context of what you want to achieve, right? But I wouldn't say that's like twisting Scripture. I don't think it's that. I think people saying stuff like, oh, when people say stuff like, oh, well, how is God all good if X, Y, Z happens? That's just twisting Scripture. But I think that's something to be wary of. Just the idea of, okay, taking write it down, make it plain as simply that when it's so much more. It's like, all right, listen, God is telling me this is about to happen because of, it was like I can't remember exactly what it was, but there was an event happening at that time. He was like, write this down, make it plain so that when it's read, there's a clear understanding of X, Y, Z. But I think that was one of the big things. I want to hear your opinion too, if you've ever felt similar, because that was a big thing, especially in Atlanta, bro. Atlanta was very much, I found a smaller church, because the bigger churches I went to, it was all very much not like effectively self-help, or it felt like a conference. It felt like a conference where everything was, okay, we got the praise and worship, we got the lights, we got this. Like, bro, our church we grew up in, praise and worship might end up, bro, there's been times when we didn't even have service. We was in praise and worship for 4 hours straight because the Holy Spirit just, boom, hit. But when I went to 100%. Atlanta, bro, and they was in and out 30 minutes. I'm like, well, dang, like, bro, I just started to, I just pulled up. I came, they was hit that course 2 times and was finished. But I think that was a big thing to me where I want to get your opinion on that. Outside of everything we talked about, because, bro, again, we got a year. We're gonna see each other a bunch more times a year, so we can finish that whole business conversation. But I definitely, as believers, and that's why I love being around believers who are entrepreneurs in general, because the conversation isn't just money, or it's not just, oh, what are you doing to make your community stronger? It's, like, how are you in your walk, or what is something that as a believer you're seeing going on in the world? Because especially people with my platform, I'm still growing. I'm in the beginning stages. I've just started to grow my platform.
Congrats in advance. We're all growing our platforms.
Thank you, bro. But like, there are guys with crazy followers, 100K plus, 10K plus. And I wonder, as an entrepreneur in the space that's a believer, how do you relate to basically what I just said? Like, that idea of sometimes people taking a scripture and turning it into like a self-help book instead of the Bible.
So my question is this to you.
Yeah.
Do you not believe that the Bible is a self-help book?
I don't believe it's a self-help book. And the reason I'll say that, literally just hitting me now, is because the Bible, Christianity, there are, I believe, 2,700, might be 4,700 religions, all without total. All the religions, like 4,700. And every single other one outside of Christianity that I know of, like the major ones at least, let's stick with the major ones, all say no matter what we do, there's nothing that we can do to get back up to that standard that we fell off from in the garden with Adam and Eve. Like, there is no amount of fasting, there is no amount of praying you can do, there is no amount of whatever. There's nothing that you can do to get back up to that level. Our good works being dirty rags, and dirty rags at that time, it wasn't a Clorox wipe that just hit dust with it. A dirty rag at that time was a they didn't have tampons. They had rags that women used to clean up their period blood.
Right.
So that's what they're saying. They're saying, bro, like the things that you think are your good works are literally a cloth with period blood on it, like in God's eyes. And one of the big things that I took from that, what you just said, and literally just hit me now because no one's ever asked me that question. I think the Bible was the complete opposite. It's literally a warning that you cannot help yourself. You have to rely on Christ to get to that place of right standing with God. Because if you continue to think of oh, I can do X, Y, Z, we're going to fail. Because all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God, not just the people in the congregation, the pastors exempt, everybody. We're all simple creatures. We're born in sin and bathe in iniquity. And the gospel, the good news is literally that in the midst of us being as broken as we are, while we were still sinners, that's one of my favorite verses is, while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. And that was, so I think for that exact reason, the Bible is the complete opposite of a self-help book. It's saying that we can't, there's absolutely no way we can even try to rely on our own strength. Sure, the most we can do is say yes. That's the most we can do for ourselves is say yes. But that sanctification work, that's the cross.
No, 100%. And the reason why I asked you was it a self-help book is just to get your, opinion, but also like I do kind of believe in a way it is a self-help book in a form. And I think that I'm not saying it's a motivational book. I think 100%. The Bible are like the exact descriptions, principles, methods in order to live your life based off of, if you believe this 100%. Is the way. If you believe in our congregation, if you believe in, what we believe in, then what's going to happen is you have to abide by these principles.
Right.
And when you abide by these principles, is it not helping you today? And 100%. not saying that you're going to start to do the things in order to get your life saved. No, because there's only grace through God. There's nothing that 100%. We can do. No amount of accolades that we can have. There's no amount of, but if you don't believe and you don't think and you don't have faith in the things that are possible, because people only can do what in their capacity they think about. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, think about it. All the thoughts that you ever had have probably come true. If you really think about it,
bro.
So how do we now control our thoughts? But control our thoughts in an imaginary way. Like, you can be anything, bro. Somebody built the Eiffel Tower, bro. Like, somebody thought about a machine where instead of us having to ride a horse, now we can go and take a plane and just in 2 hours get somewhere, in 30 minutes get somewhere, in 4 hours get somewhere that we couldn't even get to Hawaii if we wanted to.
That is crazy.
Think about that. Somebody made, this building that we're living in right now. Think about all the intricate designs. Just look at it. Look how crazy that is. Somebody thought about this. Because everything starts with a thought. Once you get a thought, you have to write it down. Because you have to see it. And once you do that, you have to affirm it to yourself. That's why in the Bible it says, God is I am. Like, he says, I am. I am. So what are you? So who do you want to be? I am successful. Not I want to be successful. No, I am successful. I am rich. I am impactful. I am influential. Mm-hmm. I am, abundant. I am favorable.
Yeah.
I have wisdom. I have wisdom. Mm-hmm. And then also whatever we ask for in life, God is just not going to give it to us. If we ask for wisdom doesn't just get implanted into our brain.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'm going to bring this situation, and this situation. And based off of the principles that you believe in, that I put in this book through other people, is how you're going to respond. And boom, that's how you gain your wisdom.
Boom.
Yo, I want to get stronger. Well, I'm not going to give you strength.
Yeah.
He didn't just give Sam some. No, you got to grow your hair out, brother.
Yeah.
You cut your hair, it's a wrap.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? You got to go to the gym. You got to do push-ups. Man. You have to actually work on. He's going to give you the tools that you need in order to become the thing you want to become.
Yeah.
In order to serve his purpose.
Yeah.
Preach past the AD.
You know what's crazy? I was
that's
thinking,
it.
bro,
That's it. I'm done.
when he's a grandfather, bro, his grandchildren, bro, my grandfather, he's a pastor. That's the church I was gonna invite you to. Literally, bro, I'll just sit and talk. I'll listen to my grandfather talk, bro, because his wisdom